If I had £70,000 to invest in 2025, here exactly is what I would do with it. And more importantly, here's what I wouldn't do. Because I see too many people falling into the same 3 traps when it comes to investing lump sums like this. Whether you've built it up from savings, inheritance, equity release, or selling property, 70k is a serious amount of money. And here's how you can use it to either grow your wealth massively or just sit there doing very little. So in this video, I'll break down 3 very common investment strategies that might seem smart but could be holding you back, and then I'll show you what I do instead. So scenario 1, let's start with the all cash property buyer. They've got £70,000 and they want to play it safe. No mortgage, no stress, so they buy a small 1-bed or 2-bed flat in the northern part of the UK. So say cities like Hull, Liverpool, Stoke-on-Trent outright. So let's say in this scenario they buy a 2-bed flat in Hull for £68,000 with £2,000 left for legal fees and a basic refurb. Great, no mortgage to pay. Full rental income comes to them. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the problem. Even if that flat rents for £550 a month, which is fairly standard in these areas, that's only £6,600 a year in income. So after letting agents fees, insurance, maintenance, and voids, the net income might be close to say £4,800 a year. That's a 6.8% net yield on your money. Not awful, but nothing amazing. And worst of all, your £70,000 is locked in. You can't refinance easily and you can't scale quickly. And you're not using one of the most powerful tools in the UK property market. That is leverage. With leverage, you can control a £150,000 to £200,000 asset with the same 70k. That gives you more rent, more capital, growth, and also more options. So scenario 2, the ETF or index fund investor. This one's for the cautious investor. So they say, I don't want a hassle of property or tenants. I'll just put 70k in the index funds and forget about it. So they're thinking of S&P 500 trackers, Vanguard, Life Strategy, maybe some diversified ETFs. Historically, these give you around 6 to 8% annual returns. So what does that look like? Let's do the math. If you put 70k into a global index fund and average 7% a year, in 10 years, you might have around £137,000. And that's not bad. Your money has nearly doubled over in a decade. But there are 3 downsides. Number 1, you can't add value to it. With property, you can force up the appreciation by renovating or converting, but you can't pay a stock portfolio and raise its value. Number 2, it's passive, but not cash flowing. So unless you specifically invest in dividend ETFs, you're not really getting a monthly income. And number 3, it's long-term only. If you need access to that money or you want to build lifestyle around cash flow, you're out of luck, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, I actually love index funds as a secondary investment. I have them. But with 70k, I want to create income and growth, not just watch numbers on the screen go up slowly. And finally, scenario 3. This is the overstretcher. This is the one that makes me cringe. So the investor gets excited and says, I've got £70,000. I'm going to put down a 5% deposit on a big flat in London or Kent. Something new, something flashy. So let's say they buy a £400,000 new build using a 5% deposit. That's 20k. Plus some extra for fees and stamp duty. They stretch out that 70k across the deposit, legal fees, and maybe some furniture. Now they're tied into a huge mortgage and the rent barely covers the monthly payments. So let's say maybe the mortgage is about £1,500 a month and the rent is £1,600 a month. So they're cash flowing £100 a month before maintenance or voids. And if interest rates go up, that £100 is gone, maybe becomes a loss even. So these investments look really nice on the surface, but they're really capital heavy, cash poor and vulnerable. You don't want to be sweating every time the Bank of England announces a rate change. So that to me is not investing, that is financial anxiety. So what I would do instead with the money. So now that we've looked at what I wouldn't do, let me show you what I would do with £70,000 in 2025. I focus on two things: service accommodation and a mini HMO/room conversion strategy. So with service accommodation, this is what you would do. Let's say you buy a 2-bed flat in Sheffield or Doncaster for £115,000. You put down a 25% deposit, that's about £28,750. You spend another 10k on furnishing and light refurb, and a few thousand more on the legals, insurances, etc. So total investment is between 45 to 50k. If you run it well on Booking.com or Airbnb, you can net over £1,000 a month after expenses, especially in the business travel or contractor heavy areas. Remember, you are still in charge of utility bills, insurance, platform cost to Airbnb, and cleaning. But £1,000 a month is achievable in the right area. That's £12,000 per year net from one deal. And you've still got 20 to 25k left to play with. So moving on to the mini HMO conversion. I would then personally use the rest of the money to buy a 3-bed terrace house for about 90 to 100k in a high demand area, rental area. So say areas like Hull or certain parts like the Midlands. Then I use a 25% deposit, around 25k, and 10 to 15k to convert the living room into a full bedroom, redecorate, add fire doors, smoke alarms, and meet the HMO standards. So now you've got a 4-bed HMO generated between 1,600 to 1,800 a month gross on rent. And even after bills, management, you could walk away with a healthy £700 to £900 a month. So combine that with the service accommodation, that's nearly £2,000 net per month in income from your initial 70k investment. Not bad, right? So in closing, if I had 70k in 2025, I wouldn't play it overly safe, but I also wouldn't overstretch trying to look rich. I'd use smart leverage, value-added strategies, and proven models to generate real cash flow and long-term wealth. Let your money work, but let the strategy win. That's how you build freedom. So let me know in the comments, what would you do with 70k in 2025? Do you agree with my options? Would you change them? Would you mismatch them? What do you think? And if you want me to walk you through the finding, the funding, and scaling deals like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.